I'm Baikani. As just says, I'm working at SolidWorks and application specialist role. Today's topic is about the automatic code review with the Semgrep. The reason we have this topic is recently I have do a lot of code review things across a lot of teams which contribute on one huge repos and which is some system like macro service system. So they have a lot of service and a lot of updates coming from each team. So the update and the contribute is too heavy to like the single man to release is unfinished in limited time. So therefore, we are looking for some automated solution for the code review part. My outcome is the Semgrep is our solution. So the first thing I will sharing our today's topic agenda. So in the first part of the session, I will sharing why we need automated code review, why we choose the Semgrep OSS engine as our code review automating tool. And the second, while doing some demo of the basic usage and how to integrate with our pipeline. And the third part, while sharing some how to create some custom rules to support our privacy business rule or something else. And the last thing I want to sharing the limitation of the Semgrep capability and some hint to writing good customer rules. Yeah, that's all. So during the session, if you have any question, we have a QA part. So you can ask in the last QA the scope to view the code and then let everyone know which is our concept. And but the traditional code review have an issue is a lack of the consistency because each man have each man's idea. We don't can set the rules as some automation tools always put some formula, always put one, they opt to put these two. So they have some different situation. Maybe everyone have not have the same idea. In the last year, maybe you have a debate with the single things, and in the today you all come to the single same situation again. Okay, so that is the four of the dimension to support. We finding automation solution for code reviews. So for the normal code review process, we will have dev to make a commit at their code base, and the commit will go to the workflow, and the workflow will show your test and some pipeline tools like SAST tools like Semgrep. They will respond to your code. Maybe you have issue here. Maybe you have something using is not securely. That's such of things will communication with those two stage. After the workflow all passed, maybe the team will start the code review session. And during the code review session, they will finding some issues or suggestions. Then the devs should be go back to the commit. But if we have some automation tool which support the custom rules, we will have one more stage. So this stage is when the code review finding some issues, this stage will finding identify some customer rules. Maybe they already have some customer, maybe they not, but they can write in rules for the issues. We can automatically identify it. Then we will adding that to the workflow. Then the next time the new coder or the new drawing team members, they submit some code which obeys this rule. The workflow will give the feedback and the context and the how to fix that to the coder. Then it will pass the workflow when they finish all the traditional, all the customer rules, and then they can pass the workflow. So in this flow, the next time you are doing the code review, you will find the similar issues is gone. The low-level issue also gone. So we just have something new we are not saying. Yes, that is we hope we can do via automation code review tool. Okay. So let's show you some reason to choosing the Semgrep. So Semgrep have 4 reasons I'm choosing that. So the first reason is which is extremely fast because they also this is the limitation of the Semgrep because it's just using less context, just one file or one method. So Semgrep is looking for making the team have a sensitive default, have a secure as a default. So they are the initial goals of them. They don't want to make a huge analyze a lot of the files to get a result because that's time consuming and it's need a lot of resource, and all the tools lacking that it's very expensive. So they are doing simple and faster engines. So because that is a very simple and faster engine, so that is very easily to integrate. You can run that at a p-commit. And we also can run fast and your workflow or pipelines. And in the same time, because the engine is simple, so you can easy to learn and write custom rules. In this session, I also will sharing how to write simple customer rules. So the last point I think is important for the companies. So because the Semgrep using the LGPL version 2.1, so it means it's kind of free to using as a commercial program. The program we are making values. That is for the Semgrep OSS engines. For the other engines, like the Pro engines, you need absolutely you need to buy it first. Okay. Sorry, my network may have some issues. Let's go into some demo time. I choose a repo on the GitHub, which is the I don't know. It's a microservice repo. It's open source, so and with MIT license. So I will showing that. Let me resharing my screen. Could you see the window here? So I just make a fork of that repo. I can send the link here. And I adding some bad code and scenario to this and unsecurity code to this repo and change the README here. So you can see the README, I provide some useful links. So this is a simple microservice or provided by the Spring Boot. You can see that I have some service like account service, auth service, notification service, and some static service, and I don't know what's his service here. So we don't need to care about the detail of the service implementation because we just view the code. So the logic is not that important. And I want to share the code I just pull out. I'm sure you can see the code here. So for the using the Semgrep, we have two ways. The one way is just running some as a commander here, as a CL command. You can see the command here. We are using some. We are using the OSS engine and close the metrics because no one want to share the information to outside, and they are enable two rules here. One is the CI rules, another one is the Java rules. So those rules will because this is a Java repo, so those rules will protecting. Those rules will scan the code and remove the last part. We can see the result immediately. So you can see those two rules find one issue here. It says
এই ফাইলটাকে তো আমরা লোকালি চেঞ্জ করছি না। চলো দেখবি যে স্টার্ট করে চল র্যান্ডম।
Okay, so you can see there have some findings here. So that is the way to using the community rules. The community will have a lot of rules. The location to finding the community rules is at here. Okay, you can see at repo there is community rules. Sorry, may I have some network issues, so cannot open that. So keep going. We also can run easily to running the Semgrep on the pipeline. You can see I have already have actions here. So in the pipeline, we also use the simple usage. You just need one command in your GitHub action if you are using the action. So just the one line of the command, you can fetch in with the community rules and your customer rules. So that's the basic usage of the Semgrep. And just want to mention one thing is the metrics of keep your information in your hand. Back to the slide. Okay, that's the sharing about the demo and the one single the workflows. So let's go to the customer rule part. This is the most important sharing about this session. So before we start to the customer rules, we need to figure out 4 concepts. They are the patterns and the meta and the severity and the languages. The patterns is the conditions group to identify the security issue or the other issues. And the meta variable like the parameter as simple code, the parameter in the Python code or other code that is that we're looking for the same values in your code, like the parameters. So that is the things to connect all the patterns. And the severity is absolutely is like the info level or warning level or some error level. You can give a good severity to identify this issue is need to do some things like the error issue. You can block your pipeline, and the language is because Semgrep are support about 10 to 20 programming languages like the YAML or the Java, Python, Golang, etc. So that's so when we write some rules, we need point out what languages we are using. So firstly, I want to sharing a simple rules, which is the login rules. So these rules, as the something showing here, you can see this is for that repo. You also can see in the GitHub. So you can see they are using some system out. Absolutely, we don't want to people or devs using the system out in our code. That may make some login is not follow the format we want. So we want to change the system out to the login info. So this is the very simple pattern. This print and the message here is the concept I just say is the meta variable. And this is the language which apply this rule because system out is Java code to print something in your command line. So we limit the languages to Java, and the fix is a parameter of the rules is can tell the user and the devs how to automatically fix these issues. And exactly, Semgrep can using the auto fix function to automatically change the system out some message to the login info message. So this is the first rules. And the last thing I want to mention is the messages. The messages option is not option field. You need input your message and tell the users, the devs, why this is the issues. Then we can make our automation code will have a consistency. Otherwise, if you cannot make sense rules, the devs will challenge you why we need this. Then for the time pass, maybe they will disable these rules. So this is important for the knowledge transfer. And we can see the second rules here. So the second rules is also have one pattern. This is the patterns which can support a lot of pattern below here. The condition with the all the patterns is all, but we just have one pattern here. and it also support some automation fix. So this is, we have a login statement before, and we need contact with some parameter. But if we contact with the parameter, it will need some local injection issues. So we need to tell the devs they do not using like this pattern. Please using some format functions to put your parameter in your statement format. So this can doing some one parameters for the login can simply change to the formats. So let me show how it works in the real code. Oh, why is my sharing? So we type the Semgrep scan first and enable the OSS engine. Okay, and input the matrix of, because we don't want to anyone collect the matrix. And the rule is on the here. You can see here I have a Semgrep rules. So go to the Semgrep rules, and this rule is the login rules. So we're running the login rules and the running. So you can see there have two issues here. The first issue is in this location. You can see they're logging the account name directly, context with the statement. And we can go to the next issue. Okay, the next issue is using the system out print in with the login information. Okay, that I just make this issue. So we can using the auto fix function to fix that. Okay. Why is not change my code? Oops. Okay, no worry. So in the design scope, in the design goals, it will automatically change the code, but I don't know why it's not change my code. It should work. Let me try again. Okay. It says it's changed the code, but I can see the. Oh, I just saw some changes. It's changed, but my VS Code don't reload that. So the first one issues the output issues change to the log info, but the log info with the context. So we run that, it will automatically change to the using the code format here, like this. So that is how to using the first rule and how it works. Let me reshare my screen. So back to slide. The second condition, the customer rules will come little complex. So you can see there have a lot of rules here. So this rules is designed for the tell the people we need a Wi-Fi all the parameters before we using that. At Spring Boot framework, we have a controller and mappings to accept the remote REST call. So in that, we will have a lot of arguments to analyze the parameters and the response body, request bodies to the Java objects. So in that part, we also need to validate the value. Then we can use in that. If we don't validate the value, maybe the attacker want to do some injection or some XXS attack. So that is the goal for make sure every method have every mapping have a valid, but yeah, to avoid common mistake. So we can see we are using the pattern inside. First, the pattern inside means we were looking for some patterns in this ... part. The other code is to looking for matching some controller here. So this is looking for the controller, and you can see there is a meta variable. The previous login customer rules were not using the meta variable. So in here we can see patterns for the meta variable here. We are looking for some meta variable is end of like the controller. So this is a mapping to the some pattern like the REST controller or the normal controller to understand this class is a controller class. So in the Spring Vibe, we know the controller class is the endpoint of the Spring. So that's we are looking for. And in second inside is looking for some mappings. So also in the controller class, you will have some private method is not process any user request or something else. So that is looking for something can proceed the mappings, the user request and the something else is can proceed some parameters. And we have two patterns here. So the first pattern is looking for just we have a lot of parameters, just one missing the validate. And the second pattern is looking for the if you have a lot of you have just have one single argument in the method and forgot to the valid. So for the failed out, we need a failed out for case. So if you don't using the validate or the valid in the code, so that is you are already verified the method, but some cases we just focus on the case you're not verified. So we just point out those two patterns. Yeah. So that is the rules to figure out which pattern is not validate. Okay, and go back to the code. Let's see how it works. So back to this code, I'm calling the rules for the valid input. You can see we can find a lot of issues here. So first in the account controller. So for this parameter, this get parameter is not have any valid here. So it's perhaps have some issues, but we need to check. Do we need for valid parameter values for the get request? And go the second. This is also the get method. Okay, and you can see here I have a put method here, but without the validate. So this put method also missing the validate. We already have this kind of the reports, so the devs can easily know this low-level mistake. They forgot to validate some parameters in their code, they can, according to this report, to fix them by themselves, avoiding to put these issues on the low environment state. Okay, that's the second rules. Oops. Okay, the next I will show some limitation of the Semgrep. As I just showing, the Semgreps have a limited context because they focus on the security as a default, so they are ignore some four project context. They just analyze the code in one single class or one single file or one single method. So that is limited context. In that context, you will missing something for the Semgrep OSS engines. But for the Pro engines, is designed for the security specialists, and they are researchers, so they will take a lot of time to analyze a lot of rules and come out a lot of it can support whole project context. That's the difference. But that will cost a lot of times and resource. And the second problem of the Semgrep is the false positive. As all the SAST tools like Semgrep, they will produce the false positive because they are not really running the code. They just analyze code if they don't know this code is running or not. So that is another the limitation of the Semgrep. And the last is the hint part. So using the Semgrep, I have 6 hints for this tooling. And the first thing is the messages. The messages is important because you need adding some messages to let the people know why we need this rule and why we need to make this change. And the second is the fixed field. For some simple issues, you can just using the fixed field to automatically fix code, as I just showing. And the third is the categories and the metadata. I didn't show that capability in the code. That is most of the time for the classify the rules and analyze the result. So if you want to analyze the result, how many kind of the issues coming out from your project, you can try this. And the fourth is making the metrics off. That's will keep your all information in the locally, so it can keep your company information safe. And the last two is to advance usage of the Semgrep. One is the data flow engines that can do the time tracking in the context. So you also can write in some rules to support XSS analysis or something else. Did the team verify these parameters or not? Did the team verify the things before they logging out, or something? Did these credentials is directly output in the code in the log or not? Something like that you can use in the time tracking to figure out it. But for the OSS engines, this is also in the small context, just the one file and one method. Maybe it's not that powerful as we expect, but Semgrep are looking for exponential functions like means join mode, which can combine the output like the circle. So which using the meta variables to connect all the outputs and making the connection with the output and analyze the output to making sure that issues is really is true positive and not false positive. So that is all of this sharing. Any questions?
Do you have any other questions from the participants? Yeah, there's a message.
Okay. I want to share the default rules, but okay, the connecting issues is gone. So I can show you something. So they have a community to contribute the default rules. As you can see, I just using the CI rules and the Java rules is here, and they have a lot of rules which contributed by a lot of open source community there. So they have a lot of default rules. You can just using that rules. Yeah. I can show the page link here. And in the repo, they have more information and some links if you are interested to doing the automation review, or you want to enable some code lines, you can check that links. Let me show you. Yeah, you can check in those links. That will help you distribute the customer rules to the team. That's all. Thank you for joining the session.
Thank you.
Okay.